Hello and welcome to Green on Purpose, a space where leadership, delivery and regeneration meet, shaping our future and building what lasts. Hi and welcome to Green on Purpose. I'm Karen Gray. This podcast is for leaders involved in sustainability, transformation or change, and who are starting to feel that maybe there's more that can be done. If you're listening to this, chances are you're already involved in sustainability in some way, or you're considering doing more. You're reducing waste, tracking emissions, making better choices around materials and suppliers, reporting against ESG targets. And all this genuinely matters. None of this work is pointless or wasted. But I keep hearing the same things from leaders. Even when sustainability programs aren't delivered well, even when the numbers look good, something still feels a little fragile. Change doesn't always stick, teams feel tired, and the same issues seem to come back in different forms. So today, I want to talk about that, why this might be happening, and why more and more organizations are starting to move from sustainability towards something called regeneration. So I want to call this out. Sustainability is not the problem. It helps organizations do some really important things, such as reduce harm, improve efficiency, put some structure around impact, bring environmental and social issues into our boardrooms, make responsibility part of the leadership conversations. And this is an essential foundation for us. But sustainability was never designed to answer one simple question. Are our systems actually getting healthier over time? Because sustainability is mostly about doing less harm, slowing things down, keeping what we have going. This work is really necessary, but on its own, it doesn't always make systems stronger. And this is where things start to get stuck. You can see the gap in everyday decisions. Organizations, for instance, roll out compostable packaging. They introduce circular waste systems. They tighten up their sourcing policies. This is all good moves, but quite often, no one really knows what happens next. There's no clear link back to the soil, people, or places, and no real sense of whether things are improving or just holding together. The loops close, the boxes get ticked, but nothing actually gets stronger. Sustainability helps systems hold. Regeneration asks whether they can recover and grow. Regeneration doesn't replace sustainability. It builds on it. The shift is actually pretty simple. Instead of asking, how do we reduce harm? Regeneration asks, what would it take for the system to be healthier each time it runs? Healthier soil, healthier organizations, healthier communities, healthier ways of working. It's not about doing anything different. It's about changing what success looks like, from slowing damage to building long-term strength and resilience. Let me bring some examples to life. Different sectors, different starting points, same pattern. Let's look at retail. A retail supplier switches to compostable plant-based packaging. The food waste goes into the same composting system. Less goes to landfill. ESG scores are improved. On paper, it all looks good. But when leaders pause and look a bit closer, they realize something. They don't really know where the compost ends up. They don't know if it improves the soils, and they don't know whether the local suppliers are actually stronger as a result. So the questions change. Instead of asking, is this packaging sustainable? They should start asking, what systems are we actually feeding with this decision? The shift isn't a new material, it's redesigning the loop. Food waste and packaging are collected properly. Compost goes back into the soil that supports local growers, and those growers feed back into the retail supply chain. Now, the system doesn't just reduce waste, it strengthens soil, suppliers, and resilience. Same retailer, very different outcome. Let's look at local government. A council runs a solid food waste collection scheme. Targets are met, tonnage is reported, and landfill is reduced. But pressure on health and community services keep rising. So the council steps back and can ask a different question. Instead of treating food waste as a disposable issue, they start treating it as part of a local system. Food waste is composted locally where possible. That compost is used in public green spaces, community garden projects, and local food initiatives. Over time, things start to shift. Soils improve, local food capacity grows, community involvement increases, and preventative health outcomes begin to move in the right direction. The system starts reducing future demand, not just managing today's waste. That's regeneration in practice. And here's a third example, banking. A bank doesn't deal with physical waste at all. A bank has a solid ESG reporting, emissions are tracked, risks are tightly managed. All the right things are in place, but the leaders start to notice something else. Decisions feel short term, capital keeps flowing into fragile models, and the same risks keep showing up again and again. So again, the question changes. Instead of asking, does this meet our ESG criteria today, they can start asking, does this make the system more resilient over time? Capital begins to move towards long-term value, not quick extraction, towards organizations building real capacity, towards models that reduce future risk. The outcome isn't ideological, it's practical. More stable portfolios, lower long-term exposure, stronger relationships with communities and markets. That's what regeneration looks like in finance. This really matters if you're responsible for change, because sustainability initiatives often focus on what gets delivered. Regeneration asks a different set of questions. What is left behind? Are people stronger after the change? Is the organization better, able to adapt? Does the next change get easier or harder? If people are exhausted after go live, if new behaviors don't stick, if benefits quietly fade, then the system is still taking more than it gives back. Even when the intent was good, regeneration brings sustainability into how change is actually lived and sustained. So here's the key thing I want to leave you with. If you're already working on sustainability or transformation or shaping change day to day, you're not behind. You're probably standing at the next step. Regeneration simply asks, what would it take for our system to get stronger, not just less damaging? That's what this podcast is here to explore, how leaders move from managing impact to building things that last, for people, for places, and for long term. Thank you for listening. This is Green on Purpose. I'm glad you could be here. This is Sustainability Reimagined. If this episode resonated with you, follow or subscribe to the podcast so you can stay part of the conversation and join us each week as we explore these ideas together.